Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. It is Wednesday, June the 8th, Ian Cameron. And yes, we are here and we have a show, even though we have no hockey on this Wednesday. And that is a surprise in and of itself and a weird, awkward feeling, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we've been basically looking at hockey every single day for the most part, regular season and playoffs, dating all the way back to October. So when you have these days late in the playoffs where you got no games, it's a bit of a strange feeling, an adjustment period, if you will, to not have any hockey tonight. But we still have a show and we still have a guest joining us. And we've had a ton of great guests here throughout our Stanley Cup playoff shows here on the Ice Guys. And we have another great guest joining us today, pro hockey player Calder Brooks. That's a great hockey name right there, Calder. Because, of course, Calder Trophy, of course, in the National Hockey League. Calder, welcome to the Ice Guys. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we do with our guests joining us on the first time, tell us about Calder Brooks. Tell us about how you got into hockey, how you got the love for it, the passion for it, and your hockey career and journey up till this point.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of typical from any Saskatchewan small town kid, kind of growing up and putting on the skates at 3 years old and learning to skate, and then just kind of taking it from there. I played my minor hockey with the Balgoni Prairie Storm, who's actually produced quite a few guys drafted into the WHL and then onto the NHL. So I played with that minor hockey association until Bantam, and then I played with the Pac Canadians in midget AAA here in Regina for 2 seasons, and then I moved on to play for the Calgary Hitmen in the WHL, who I was drafted by out of Bantam. And yeah, that was kind of a huge step for me. I was a little bit undersized, and then I think when I was drafted, because you're only 14, I was like 5'4", 130 pounds or something. And then so obviously needed to grow a bit, and which I was luckily able to do, and had a great experience. And 3 years in Calgary, I played till I was 19. Really, really enjoyed my experience there, from just, getting to play in the Saddle Dome and being around the Flames guys. And we had some very good teams and players, and just the whole organization was super professional and, first class everything. So I was very fortunate to be a part of that organization. And then I was traded to the Prince Albert Raiders halfway through that 19-year-old year, just after Christmas. So that was a big change for a lot of different reasons, good and bad. But, when I got to Prince Albert, I got to play with Draisaitl and Morrissey, and was, very lucky to be able to do that.
Wow. Leon Draisaitl. That's big time right there. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. We all knew how, he was going to be, he was a stud, but I think that year when I was there, he had 105 points and, 60 some games in the dub. But you never know, he's going to go on to lead lead the league in the NHL in points every year.
And putting up century mark and points in the big show. Yeah, the NHL. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, Morrissey's doing very well in Winnipeg for himself. And then, that 20-year-old season, we had like 7 guys, I think, scheduled to come back to Prince Albert. So you can only have 3. And then I was moved to Spokane, Washington for the Chiefs there. My 20-year-old year, and I loved it there. It was another totally different kind of experience getting to play in the U.S. Spokane was an awesome city, getting to play with a lot of great guys, and they're a super good organization too. So yeah. I had a really good experience in the WHL, and it opened up a lot of doors for me with professional hockey, and then on the schooling side as well. And then I chose to go to school and get my university, kind of use that package that the WHL provides for us, which we're, very lucky to have. And I went to school out in Halifax and St. Mary's for 4 years and got my business degree. And then I've been kind of playing pro hockey the last 3 seasons in a few different spots.
including most recently Rapid City, ECHL, where you nearly a point per game for you, Calder, this year. 37 points I'm seeing in 43 games. You're mostly left wing, right? Because you're listed as left wing / center, but most of your hockey playing career and days have been on the left wing, right?
Yeah, it's almost 50-50, I would
Oh,
say.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, this year I was a center the whole year through and through. I would say I'm almost more naturally a centerman than a left wing. Um, but just with the situations on certain teams and where the coaches, see me in the lineup and stuff, or how many centers we have, I play both the wing and center. So it's kind of whatever is going to be better for the team.
Yeah, and I know you when you played with Leon, and bring him up because obviously with the Oilers, his team just got bounced in 4 straight games by Colorado. But when you played with Leon, you knew the skill. Obviously he's got everything. He's got the size. It's hard to get the puck away from him. He's got incredible vision. He can pass the puck as good as anybody. He's got a blistering one-timer. I like how he always usually goes down to one knee, tries to shoot that thing so fucking hard that he's going down to one knee, basically, to shoot it. But yeah, he's got the entire package. But did you know he was a pretty damn tough prick too? I mean, my goodness, the things he dealt with injury-wise in that Colorado series, he had an ankle issue going back to the Calgary series. He suffered it in that series. He dealt with that through the entire Colorado series. And I know, like Matt Carey, our previous guest, said, they put hyper ice and hydra ice and all this shit that they put up for hockey players on these ankles, and it, at least negates the pain a little bit. Still doesn't take it away completely. The fact he's playing a series against a high-level team like Colorado with an ankle issue, and I think he got a slew foot in one game during this series, which couldn't have made things any better. And there he is getting hit in the last game where they got eliminated. Calder, he's getting knocked down, he's getting crunched into the boards, and there he is just willing himself up off the ice, even though he's in obvious pain, getting to the bench, bent over along the bench in severe pain, and still going back out there for the next shift. What an absolute warrior-like display from Leon Draisaitl in that series. Just absolute warrior mentality. I'm not coming out of this game. Don't even fucking think about taking me out of this game and out of this series, is probably what he was saying to Jay Woodcroft. Just an incredible display of guts, character, heart, pain threshold, pain tolerance, whatever you want to call it. It was pretty amazing to see it from Leon, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm not really surprised. I think, he's just a gamer. He has obviously a tremendous skill set, but, he works his bag off, from when I played with him, which was a long time ago, but, I think all those superstars and just guys at the top of the league, or, really anyone at a high level of hockey, like, you have to have that work ethic. And then when you have that combined with his hockey IQ and just the way he thinks and is able to do some stuff on the ice, it's great to see. And it's really impressive to see guys battle through what guys go through in the playoffs and how much they're willing to push through. And it's I think that's one of the best things about the playoffs, is there's just that toughness that you have to have in order to win a championship at really any level. And yeah, he's a good example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And my fellow Hamilton man, of course, I'm from Hamilton. You can see it in the background. Hamilton Proud, it's the sign, the Ticat mascot behind me. But Darnell Nurse from my hometown here, Hamilton, Ontario. And what a resilient display of guts from him, too. I mean, playing through what he did. 3 friggin' playoff series with a torn hip flexor, and he played through it. I cannot imagine the excruciating pain that guy must have went through. And then to hear people on Twitter just say what a shitty performance he had in the yeah, he struggled. I get it. Game 2 was awful for him. It was a tough performance. I get that. But how the hell would you play with a torn hip flexor if you had to go through that on the ice? So cut him some slack. I mean, he's a great defenseman. When he's 100%, watch out. He's going to be back good as new, just like that. You got to give him his props there, in my opinion, for battling through that.
I agree. Yeah, I just think a lot of people probably don't realize how big of an impact certain injuries have on your play. And obviously your hip flexor with really anything but hockey and skating, it makes things a lot more difficult, and you get it wrapped and you get treatment and stuff, but it's, there's only so much you can do, and it's really going to limit your play, no doubt.
Yeah, no question about that. You mentioned Spokane Chiefs too. That they are a great Western Hockey League team because they always seem to be competing and contending, for Western Hockey League championships and buzzing around the Memorial Cup a lot of years. So there's no doubt that's a good program. I'm hoping my team gets there this year. The Hamilton Bulldogs, they're in the OHL championship series right now, but they have work to do. They're down 2-1 right now to Windsor. So, but still, so only 3 games. Lots of time to come back, and it's been fun watching some of these guys on the Bulldogs this year. Arbor Jackeye, who's going to be a terrific player, defenseman for the Canadians probably, and of course Mason McTavish, goes without saying how good of a player he might be down the road for the Anaheim Ducks. So you're a Saskatchewan guy, so I got to ask you about, because I'm a CFL fan. CFL starting tomorrow night. Are they as batshit crazy for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as everybody seems to think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a new
question is, are you into the Rough Riders in the CFL? Yeah.
Yeah, my family has had season tickets for forever, really, since I think even before I was a kid. So it's kind of just been one of those things where I would go to a decent amount of games when I was younger and kind of home more. But now that I'm gone, I usually catch a couple of games in the summertime, and especially with the new stadium they have now, it's very, very nice and a lot more enjoyable to go to games. They got the Pilsner section in the one end zone, which is just really a big party, and
Yep.
a lot of young people, or people kind of around my age. So yeah, they sell out almost every game, I think, and it's just it's kind of really good to see in Saskatchewan. I think rallies behind it, people come from all over to watch the games. I wouldn't say I'm one of the biggest fans, but I definitely root for them, and they're hosting the Grey Cup, I believe, this year. So
They are indeed.
yeah,
Yep.
It's obviously a big year for them.
And that means if Hamilton plays in the Grey Cup, they'll have zero chance of winning because they never win in Saskatchewan. They never, ever win in regular season, preseason, playoffs. Who the fuck cares what it is? They never win in Saskatchewan. Never do. And that bothers me. But nevertheless, yes, they are hosting it. They'll put on a great show. You just know they will. And of course, Hamilton hosted the Grey Cup, and I was involved in all the festivities for the week. They did lots of events. They did lots of drinking events, which is my kind of thing right there. And definitely it was a lot of fun leading up to the Grey Cup for sure. So it'll be a great party that they put on. So favorite team growing up. Now you're in Saskatchewan, so I guess this could go a bunch of different ways, in terms of who you might have been cheering for, NHL team you might have been rooting for growing up. Who was it?
Calgary. You know what? I kind of switched from Edmonton to Calgary.
Traitor.
Yeah.
The Oilers fans would call you that. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Ryan Smith when I was like pretty young, and kind of those days for the Oilers when they were going to the Cup, and I just I didn't have, I wasn't a diehard one team or the other. Some people from here have to kind of just choose typically one Canadian team. I have friends that are Habs fans or Leafs fans, or Canucks even. Like it doesn't even have to be the closest team. So but yeah, I think I would probably just say like the Oilers. And then once I was kind of drafted to the Hitmen and just kind of being around the Flames and stuff, I just started to root for them a little bit more, and being around those guys.
That's solid reasoning. You can't hate on that. I mean, you're playing for the Hitmen. You're in the Saddle Dome. You're around the Flames organization because they both share that building.
Yeah.
Throughout the hockey season, so it makes sense why you ended up. Hey, let's cheer for Calgary here. I'm so ingratiated with the city and with the Saddle Dome, obviously the venue. So it made perfect sense then for you to be cheering for the Flames. Hopefully, the friends of yours and relatives and family and all that are big Oilers fans have forgiven you.
Yeah,
for
well, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Hopefully they have. All right, great stuff. Let's talk some NHL. I mean, we've got definitely a situation here where we got a series again between the Rangers and the Lightning. Of course, they played Game 4 last night. And when you look at the way that game unfolded, Tampa Bay seems to be getting better and seems to be getting stronger as this series goes on. They obviously dropped the first two games at Madison Square Garden. I thought in Game 3 they obviously deserved to win Game 3. It was much more difficult than maybe it should have been. They had 50-plus shots on goal, but Igor Shesterkin was outstanding, kept them in the game, and they finally got the game-winning goal in the final minute of the third period, courtesy of Andre Palat, who's absolutely on fire right now, especially on home ice, and he got 3 points last night for Tampa Bay in the Game 4 victory. You'll look at the shots on goal, Calder, last night, and you'll see that the shots on goal were pretty even for the game. But if you really watch that game, it didn't feel like a lot of the Rangers' shots and opportunities that they had on Andrei Vasilevskiy were all that threatening. They didn't feel like there were a ton of high danger chances and a ton of great looks for them. I thought it was a very well defended game, clinical defensive effort, in my opinion, from the Tampa Bay Lightning. It really looked a lot like the way the Tampa Bay Lightning defended against Florida, in that 4-game sweep in the second round against the Panthers, where it was just a smothering team defensive effort. They just really didn't let anyone get a really good shot opportunity, a chance on net. There was blocked shots left and right. How difficult was it last night for the Rangers to get one damn puck to the net? It was a shooting. It was a blocked shot brigade once again for the Lightning. Sergachev and Hedman and the forward Cirelli is just an incredibly good defensive forward. And they said it multiple times on the broadcast last night, and they couldn't have been more right. His defensive game's been absolutely terrific. And look, Zibanejad got shut down for a change. He had been doing a lot of damage in this series. Kreider was pretty quiet. I know Panarin got the late goal, but it was already a comfortable 3-0 lead for Tampa Bay at the time. It was just a great defensive effort, and the best Rangers players were pretty much shut down. And then you look on the flip side, Calder, what Tampa Bay's best players did. 3 points for Palat, another goal for Nikita Kucherov, another goal for Steven Stamkos. And as a result, look, Rangers' best players got shut down. Tampa Bay's best players all factored in to the goals they scored. And of course, Vasilevskiy was rock solid. And for the first time in this series, you can say he probably outplayed Shesterkin, who they hinted too that he might be a little bit tired, after facing 50-plus shots the previous game. There could be some truth to that. But Calder, what did you think of last night as Tampa Bay ties up the series at 2?
Yeah, I think I kind of thought they were going to at least win that Game 3. And then last night it was kind of a toss-up for me. But it's just like they always just find a way. They know exactly the right way to play, obviously winning the last 2 cups. Then they bring in, guys that just fill these roles so perfectly now. They got rid of Gaudreau and Coleman and, that huge energy line that was so good for him in the previous years. And then they have Nick Paul and obviously Patty Maroon's like a good addition. And their Stamkos looks as good to me as he ever has. Like, it's kind of, he's playing the way he did before he had a couple of those big injuries. So I don't know. Now going back to New York, I just feel like Tampa's got their mojo back, and that they didn't really have those first 2 games maybe that didn't go their way, and now things are clicking for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the next 2 and play Colorado in the finals.
Yeah, right now when you look at the last 2 games, you really think that's got a good chance of happening.
If New York won last night, obviously I would, it's a way different series and stuff, but it's hard to say. There's 2 really, really good goalies, and I just think the way Tampa, just their structure, and when they really need to bear down and play these sort of really intense playoff games, they know exactly how to do it. Plus, like, New York's 2 second and third line centers could be out for next game. Like, I know Keedle and I'm blanking on the second line center.
Talking about Strome.
Yeah, Strome. So if they're missing both those guys, like if you're missing your second and third line centers, that's a pretty big uphill climb in its own right. So we'll see. It's playoff hockey, and I think it'll probably go Tampa Bay's way now. Just that I think they're kind of got on a little bit of a roll.
Yeah, it's going to be a game time decision for Strome. Day to day, says Gerard Gallant, they're hopeful he's able to return for Thursday night, Game 5 against the Lightning. And as for Philip Hedl, and man, this hurts me that he's injured and may miss time, because this has been a goal scorer prop palooza for me, Calder, in the playoffs with Philip Hedl. I've been betting this plus 500, plus 450 for him to score a goal, and they never adjusted. When he started to heat up offensively at the end of the Carolina series, I caught on to it quickly, and I said, we got to start looking at goal props with Philip Hedl. He's feeling it. He's confident. He's shooting the puck a lot, and it's amazing when you see the puck go in. As a player, don't you say, hey, I'm going to shoot even more now. It's starting to go in for me. And it's just the confidence. When you can't get out of your own fucking way and you got 115 games or 20 games without a goal, and you don't think you're ever going to score again, you're hesitant, and it's a little bit of a crisis of confidence. Maybe you just don't take the shot when it's there for you. But all of a sudden, when you see the goals piling up for you and you're scoring, and all of a sudden you're seeing the puck go in like Philip Hedl has, you're shooting the puck even more because the confidence is there. And that's what he's been doing. He's been terrific. We've been cashing big plus prices with him with goal scorer props. So the fact he might miss Game 5 and maybe more than that really does hurt the New York Rangers. But do you agree with that concept? Confidence is a funny thing. You're on a 20-game goal scoring drought. It never feels like you're going to score again. And then, of course, when you do have a few 5 goals in 3 games like Hedl had, it seems like, hey, I shoot the puck more because I've got that confidence, right?
Yeah, it's the same, I think, with every player. You try and not go, obviously, with too long streaks without a goal, but when it happens, to every guy, and when you're things aren't clicking for you and you haven't found the net in 10 games or something, it's you just don't have that same mojo and confidence, and you're just almost gripping your stick too tight and worried about shit that you shouldn't be worried about. And then as soon as you score that one goal, it's just like you're back to playing is just so much easier, and things are just coming to you. And it just kind of seems like once you get one, then another one's going to go off your shin pad, and you're going to however it's going to go, and you end up getting 4 goals in the next 2 games or something like that, and you get on a roll. So it's huge. I mean, that's why you want your big guys to get a couple points early in series to have that confidence and just driving your team. And then obviously with Tampa, they got that fourth line. They all have like 5 goals too. So like that helps a lot.
No, it definitely does. And again, definitely important to monitor the status of Philip Hedl going into Game 5. It's he's been terrific. Again, I'll once again remind everybody what he's done. He scored 5 goals in the last 6 games. Now he did quiet down a little bit in Tampa Bay. He had no goals in Game 3, no points in game. But again, Game 4's play in that game was cut short, 7 minutes on the ice before he suffered that injury. So it's a big loss because they had finally gotten the kid line has grown up. I think one of the announcers said that throughout the Rangers playoff run so far, that Hedl, Lafreniere, and Kakko, have really started to, they're now many playoff games under their belt. They know what it takes. They know you've got to drive it into another gear, at Stanley Cup playoff time. And they've played very well. There's no question about that for the Rangers. And it's definitely been maturity and growth from those 3 players in particular. Now, I've mentioned this many times before. I'll get your thoughts on it. I don't like it when I see stuff from earlier this year saying Lafreniere, a bust already. There's people just already ruling that as the final verdict on Alexis Lafreniere's career, that he's a bust. Are we, come on now. I know he's a number 1 overall pick, but are we all expecting every number 1 overall pick to be like Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid in year 1? I mean, that is totally unrealistic. It's totally unfair to say after this short sample size that Alexis Lafreniere can't play at a big-time level in the National Hockey League. He's getting better. Give him time. I have no doubt in my mind Alexis Lafreniere in a year or 2, you watch now. And I like that he's got a little gumption, as Darren Pang would say, in his game. He'll push back. He'll get in scrums. He'll get his nose dirty. He'll stick up for teammates. He won't back down from physical play. that element of Alexi Lafreniere's game, I think, has really gotten better as well. So I hate that shit. I mean, calm down. I mean, we can't all be McDavid in year one where we're lighting it up and just lead in top 5 in scoring in the National Hockey League. Sometimes guys need a little bit of time, and we need to be, as fans and observers, we need to be a little bit patient, right?
I agree. I don't some guys take longer to adjust and develop, and I mean it's different for each guy, and you have the rare occasions of the Matthews and McDavids, and teams are super lucky to be able to have the first overalls when those guys are there. But like, I think, it doesn't really matter if it takes you a few extra years to develop and kind of learn what works, what's not working. It's just one of those things. People get way too horny to just jump on guys when they're not doing well right off the gates. I completely agree.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, give them time, give them, and that's exactly. And you're seeing improvement, which I love to see that. You're seeing this him get better. You're seeing what a improvement from Philip Hedl, obviously, and what a playoffs he's had. That whole line. I mean, that whole line's been effective all throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Pittsburgh series, the Carolina series. And now it's carried over into this round as well against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Again, not so much the last 2 games, but now they're going back home to the cozy confines of Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena for Game 5. And you watch, there'll probably be more of an impact there back home, because definitely that line was good. And I would expect probably a little bit better from the big guns as well, Zibanejad and Kreider, once that series shifts back to New York tomorrow night. Speaking of which, of course, Calder's just on today as our special guest, so we'll get his thoughts right now on Game 5 tomorrow night with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Rangers. We've got Tampa Bay minus 130, road favorites here in Game 5. The total is 5.5, and it is shaded to the under at minus 140, minus 145 if you like under 5.5 in some books right now. So you're definitely not getting a bargain by any stretch of the imagination with that. I'm actually surprised they didn't lower it to 5, because it's gotten to the point now where I think they want to lower the total to 5, after 3 consecutive unders in this series. And obviously you're talking about probably the best 2 goalies left. They are the best 2 goalies left in the playoffs, Shesterkin and Vasilevsky, who have been phenomenal throughout these playoffs. So I'm a little bit surprised the total's still 5.5, but I would only look under again. I mean, I said that this series would be low scoring. The only game I took over 5.5 goals in, Calder, was Game 1. And I had a specific reason for doing that, the layoff for Tampa Bay, 9 days off. Do you feel as a player that leads to sloppy play, that leads to mistakes with the puck, that leads to defensive breakdowns, communication issues when you've been sitting around for 9 days? Because that's what I thought we saw from Tampa Bay, especially in Game 1, and it led to a higher scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of the narrative when you have a team that has 8 days off and the team that's just come off a 7-game series and jumping right back into it, if it's which team is going to kind of benefit from their situation. So I think, that's a smart play by you to, teams can easily come out a little bit lackadaisical or unorganized for the first game after being off for a week. So I think for this, like, betting right here, I mean, for me, I would just, I agree with you. I would probably take the under. I don't usually bet the unders, but I'll probably just look at more of a couple prop bets or something and see what I can get some good odds on.
You're preaching to the choir there, Calder, about the unders. I don't bet unders hardly at all. Like, I would say 98% of my totals are overs. The 2% that are unders, it's got to be like something that's super strong. I really think, wow, this is a stone cold under. This is a really, really strong positive expectation betting situation to take the under. And if it's not, then I don't take an under. And here's why. First of all, I've had horseshit results, with unders for my decade career now as a sports bettor and handicapper full time. I've just had terrible results, Calder, and it does not fucking matter what sport. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, hell, UFC fights. I'll take the under in a UFC fight, and they're just nobody's, there's not enough action going on. There's just lots of mat-based shit going on, and no one's really, or someone's got a chance to knock someone out, and the referee doesn't stop it. Something will keep me somehow from cashing an under. It's just I've had perennial bad results, and I can't explain why. I don't change my process. I think my process makes sense. I think when I'm looking at each game or each whatever the case may be in every sport, the under makes sense in a lot of these games. And yet somehow, some way, it doesn't pan out, 90% of the time. So it's bad results I've had, bad luck I've had with unders, combo with both. And the second thing is it's difficult to root for an under these days when every league is trying, what they're doing. They're changing the rules. They're tweaking the rules. And why are they doing that? To benefit offense, to improve offense. Look what the CFL's even doing it, with the hash marks and the way they're putting those on the field this year. And 15 yards now for every no yards penalty in the CFL. Look at NFL. You can't even breathe on someone as a defensive back or someone in the secondary anymore on a receiver. The flag's going to get thrown. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. I mean, they're trying to make every single advantage and give every edge to the offenses across the board. NBA now even, touch fouls. NHL, you can't even do interference anymore in front of, you can't even have a stick battle in front of the net anymore. You can't cross-check someone in front of the net anymore. That's the real big change they made going into this year. They're calling every cross-check right in front of the net. They'd let those little one-on-one tough, physical, hard-nosed battles go in front of the net for decades. I've watched hockey for 30-plus years now. I'm 37 later this year. I've watched hockey for over 30 plus years, and throughout my whole lifetime, I've been accustomed to seeing these hard, tough one-on-one battles where, hey, if I'm going to stick, cross-check a guy a couple of times to create space, I'll do it because it won't get called. Now it's getting called every time. So again, more power plays leads to more goals and more offense. It's across the board. So as a result, unders are not for me, sorry. With combine the results of unders for me over the years and everything that the leagues are doing to create more scoring, I just stay away from it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really sure on my bets coming up for this game, but yeah, I think it'll probably be a couple prop bets. And
which players are you targeting? I mean, Rangers and Lightning. If you had to look at it, who do you think's going to hit the score sheet, score some goals, get a couple of points? Like I really targeted Andre Palat last night for Tampa Bay because he has been a point-scoring machine at home. I ended up with a couple of Rangers power play points props, and just conceptually for me, Rangers, if you like the Rangers to score, a lot of the damage they've been doing lately is with the power play.
Right. Yeah.
So if you can,
yeah. I mean, I think on the same side of it for Tampa, I like Corey Perry, and he had a couple really good when they go over from the top from Hedman down to Cooch, and he does that little bump play to Perry in the slot.
Yep.
He had a couple really, really good looks last game.
It's going to go in at some point.
Yeah, so I think that'd probably be someone I would look to for this upcoming game. And then, I don't know if Cirelli scored in the last few, but I think he's doing pretty well, and you can usually get pretty good odds for him. Obviously, the big guys, Stamkos is rolling and Cooch, but I'd probably say Cirelli and Perry for Tampa, and then for New York, I mean, I don't even know. It's tough to say. I would probably, if you're just looking at the power play,
I think you got to look at DJZ bands for sure for the New York Rangers. You're looking at me as, are you nuts? Are you mental? Yeah. When I said that, that's Mika Zibanejad. His alias is DJ Z-Bands. He was DJing in nightclubs when he played for Ottawa years ago, according to a friend of mine. He would see him in the nightclubs.
I thought they got a new player there for a second. I was like, I don't know. I mean,
DJ Z-Bands, that's his DJ name. Yeah,
it's definitely a good bet. For me, I go for a little bit more value. I don't even know what his would be. But yeah, I think if the Rangers are going to win, they're going to need to get rolling on their power play, but also even strength. Tampa's just kind of, out shooting them, and it's kind of this the special teams is so important nowadays, but you really got to just find a way to score a couple 5-on-5 goals. I think if the Rangers are going to win, if they're going to win Game 5 and have a chance.
Yeah, 5-on-5 is always, last night we saw it perfectly. No 5-on-5 offense. What happened in game 3, Calder, on Sunday afternoon? They scored 2 goals, but both on the power play. So again, no 5-on-5 offense, no even strength
Like
offense.
Kreider could. I mean, he's if who's in front of the net on New York's power play? I don't even. Is it Kreider or is he?
Kreider's the closest they've got to someone. Like if you look at their power play unit distribution, Frank Vetrano's good like that too. Like Frank Vetrano plays that power play. And by the way, what a great scrap him last night with Brandon Hagel.
Yeah,
I love
that
seeing
was
that.
good
It
to
was just
see.
spontaneous. We've been under each other's skin, and battling, one on head to head for most of the game. We're just going to drop the gloves here and get it over with. I've had enough of you. You've had enough of me. Let's go.
Yeah,
I love
that's
those
awesome to see.
spontaneous. Yeah. Yeah, I love those spontaneous fights, just like that. It's just we're battling against each other here. We're going to finally drop that. And Ric Flair, who was in attendance, they showed the camera on him after that fight. You knew he'd love that. Professional wrestler for decades, and he was in WWE when I actually thought WWE was good, which to me it isn't anymore.
Was that his wife sitting next to him? Do you know?
That's a good question. We were all wondering who's the chick
Maybe,
with him.
sure, maybe even less.
Yeah. I wish I knew, but yeah, she was a nice sight. I know that for sure. But yeah, nevertheless, it was great to see. And he lives in Tampa Bay. One of his homes is in Tampa Bay, so that's why he's a Lightning fan. I think he's but I don't know how it works when it's Carolina versus Tampa Bay. Like it's been in the past. Where hold on now, Carolina, is his home, like his home state. Ric Flair's North Carolina.
Yeah.
So who's he cheer for then? You got to decide. You can't cheer for both.
Yeah, true. Well, he's got it easy. Right now, he's got it easy for Tampa. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that fight was actually because it's nice to see guys that don't normally scrap. Like, you wouldn't ever really expect those two guys to fight. So, I mean, I think that just shows the competitiveness and how hard guys are playing and how badly they want it, and just the raw emotions of the game. So, yeah, I loved seeing that. That was fun. And then, them just continuing to give it to each other in the penalty box too. I wish, I guess they can't have mics in there, but you can kind of read some lips, so that's all right.
Yeah. If you're a lip reader, you can get some really good shit from the smack talking and the chirping going on in between the penalty box for a lot of players after they come off the ice from a fight. No question. So, yeah, but you're right. I mean, I'm going to save a lot of my thoughts and analysis on the game for tomorrow when we're on the show, because that'll be the day of the game. But I'm looking at like I said, DJ Zban's, Mika Zibanejad. I think he bounces back. He's been great at home. I think him to score not only a goal or a point, but a power play point for specifically, because you can bet that at like a plus 160 type of price, or even Adam Fox power play point. Not just him to get a point, which you got to pay a big price for just to get a point. That's be like minus 160 or 70 for Fox, but you can get him to get a power play point specifically at like plus 160, plus 150. Get a much better price on that. And you said to me off the air, you're a plus price shopper, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I like a little
bets.
value. I just kind of sprinkle the outfield with some bets and do some weird shit really, and whatever I'm kind of banking on that night, I'll throw down a little cash on it. But yeah, I haven't really looked a ton into tomorrow night's game, but that's probably what I'll lean towards, is just a couple props of guys scoring anytime goal scorers. Or what I actually saw the other day too was you can bet I didn't even know you can bet like the actual score of whatever team wins. So like last night, you could have bet that Tampa was going to win 4-1, and you can get some really good. Obviously, the chances are a lot lower, which is why you get the value. But I might do that even for tomorrow night's game, or even when they're back in Tampa, because I think Tampa's for sure going to win at home. I have no idea about tomorrow night, but we'll see.
Yeah, it is. So that's a good strategy, and I like that. You've got a game plan, you've got a strategy, you've got a game flow in mind, a game script, if you will. I find in the playoffs you got to have something like that in mind, because it's the only game. It's not like in the regular season where you've got 10 games to choose from, and there's always going to be this side, this total that stands out, and there's going to be like a handful of good bets side and total during a regular season night in the NHL. It's not that way in the playoffs. So if you're and it's tougher, to really look at it from a series standpoint when the same two teams are playing each other 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a row. So you've got to get creative. You got to say, okay, I think this team will come out strong. The other team won't, but then maybe the other team bounces back, pushes back, wins the game later, that kind of thing. And certainly prop wise, take a look at, recent form. I like players that play well in the regular season, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the times the props that I bet, I want players that are getting it done right now for me in the playoffs. I don't care what they did. I don't care they had 15 goals in the month of October. I don't give two shits about that now that we're talking June 8th here in the playoffs. I want playoff production. And I think that's something I want to really it should be obvious, but just in case it isn't, because we have people that watch the show, they're just getting into betting for the first time. And I always say that at playoff time, give me the playoff performers, give me the players that elevate at this time of year. I don't care what they did at this in October and November, not when it comes to June playoff hockey.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I'm just thinking too, I think I'm probably going to hammer the over on game 1 of the finals, like whoever Colorado ends up playing.
I like where you're going there. Yeah.
Like even if they start, if Kemper's back, I have no idea what their goalie situation is, but if he's back, he hasn't played for a very long time in playoff terms. And then their other goalie, Francouz, I don't know if that's how you say it, but
close, Francouz. You were close though.
Yeah. Okay.
It used to be Francouz, but he wanted it Francouz. Yeah.
So I mean, either one of them hasn't played in a while, and then I just think like Colorado is obviously a high scoring team, and if whoever they play here, I think it could just be I think that's probably the only one that I'm feeling good about in the finals. I have no idea for tomorrow night, but yeah.
I don't want to slander the Rangers because, to be honest, a Colorado-New York Rangers series would be pretty good too. But if it's Colorado-Tampa Bay, I mean, think about the storylines. Think about you've got the two-time defending champs who have been there and done that now back-to-back years, going for a third straight Stanley Cup, going for a potential dynasty, if they win this year, against a team that's got the talent and longevity of this core group, Colorado, being together long enough that they could win multiple Stanley Cups. That's how good they could be for a very long time. That is a storyline, that matchup, a headline storyline for the Stanley Cup final. That is a dream scenario for any hockey savant, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think Colorado is going to lose to whoever wins this series out of New York and Tampa. I just think the Avs are so solid and skilled, and it's just I just can't see them really losing. But I mean, you never know. Obviously, Tampa's knows what they need to do. They've won the last 2 years, and then New York's a great team too, and they both have, the two top goalies in the league. So that always gives you a chance, no matter what, every night when you have that. So yeah, I'm excited. I think this is the most hockey I've watched in quite a while. I don't watch a ton of games during the season. I kind of stay away from it a little bit. But yeah, it's been really fun to watch.
Absolutely. So that's why if we bring you back, we'll remember you're a playoff guy when it comes to watching the NHL. But it is a great time of year. There's no question. The NHL regular season can drag a little bit. There's no question. And every game doesn't have that, utmost importance, just in terms of, back against the wall urgency, if you will. It's not a sense of urgency every single night during an 82 game regular season. So that's the major difference, obviously, regular season to playoffs. And I'm with you on the thought process with over the total game 1 of the NHL Stanley Cup final, especially now that we know we're getting 6 games minimum from the Tampa Bay New York series, which means you're now looking at a Stanley Cup final. It's not going to start till middle of next week. Like, I would be shocked if this series starts before next Wednesday at this point, because they usually like to give both teams a couple days off before they start the Stanley Cup final, including whoever wins Tampa Bay, New York. So you're looking at, if it starts earliest Wednesday, as I think it will, there's your 9 days off, essentially, for the Colorado Avalanche from when they finished it off against Edmonton. And that's the same situation that Tampa Bay. It's funny because if Tampa Bay plays Colorado, it's like a shoes on the other foot situation, because Colorado's going to have the layoff now of 9 days and have to find a way and to figure it out to be sharp and in sync and crisp in game one, something Tampa Bay, I think, clearly struggled with against New York in game one of this Eastern Conference final.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. A few of us were thinking about driving down to Colorado. We'll see. You never know, but yeah, if Ryan,
no thinking, Calder, no thinking, do it.
Well, there would be no thinking if Ryan was playing, but we'll see what happens here. You never know.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, by the way, mention Ryan Murray a little bit, because I think you mentioned that off air to me. But yeah, talk about Ryan Murray well. He's basically seventh defenseman right now for the Colorado. He might be the guy that actually comes into the lineup next if they get someone else gets injured on that blue line, because they had Jack Johnson take the place of Samuel Girard when he had the broken sternum that he suffered in the last round. But Ryan Murray might be next man up, if there's another injury on that blue line. So talk about your friendship with Ryan.
Yeah, him and I grew up. We're from the same little small town just outside Regina, and played together. He's a year older than I am, so we played together every second year, kind of growing up. And then he's just him and I have grown to be really good friends, and he's made a good career so far for himself in the NHL. This is his 8th season, and his first time ever being in this situation of going to a cup finals and having a chance to win a Stanley Cup. So yeah, we're pretty happy for him, and obviously it'd be a lot better if he was playing and being able to watch him play. But that's the nature of the game, and I know he'll be working hard and staying in shape and doing what he needs to do when if he gets called upon to go in. So we're excited for him, and ultimately it'd be pretty cool to have a cup party here in Saskatchewan and in a month or two.
Exactly. That's what you're interested in. Get me a Ryan Murray Calder Cup, Stanley Cup, Calder Cup.
Yeah, it'd be cool if I could win the Calder Cup. I always kind of wanted to do that.
I knew I was going to do that at some point. God damn it. Calder Cup.
Yeah, it'd be,
That's what you get for having the first name Calder. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I get that. Yeah, no, he's a great guy, and I'm happy for him that he's in a position to win a Stanley Cup, and excited to see who they play here in the finals.
Yeah, no question about that. Hey, if you scrap your way back to the AHL level, Calder Brooks' chance to win the Calder Cup. It'd be a beautiful thing. That would be a great headline if it were to happen in real life one day. But yeah, Ryan Murray, it looks like, I would think that Jared Bednar is going to end up putting him in the lineup if someone else gets hurt, because I think he's next. It's either him or McDermott. Depends on if they want a little more, muscle and someone to, patrol patrol things out there, which Curtis McDermott can do. He can drop the gloves, drop the flippers, drop the mitts. He's good at with that. He plays a physical game. He's not going to let anyone bother McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, Makar, any of those guys. Not that they can't take care of themselves. They can. I think they all can. They've all shown that ability to push back against opponents that try to play physically against them. But Curtis McDermott, if they wanted a little added muscle, then maybe Bednar goes to him if, say, a defenseman goes down. But they have the option of Murray as well. There. So he's on the short list, Calder. No question about that in terms of being the next guy in on that blue line if someone else gets hurt.
Yeah, for sure. I just think he was injured coming into playoffs and then not having played for so long. I don't think they wanted to put him in favor of was it Jack Johnson or Eric Johnson?
Jack. Eric is already a regular of the starting six. He's in the game he's in every game as long as he's not injured. Jack Johnson's a bit more of a 6-7 guy on this team. Yep.
Yeah. So who knows if Ryan was healthy coming into playoffs? Maybe he's playing every game, but that's kind of hearsay. So you never know.
Yeah, I wish him well, Ryan, because like I say, he's had a lot of injuries. He's had a lot of setbacks in the past, and unfortunately, when you're with Colorado, it is what it is. I mean, there's some teams where you're like a healthy scratch as a defenseman, and it's like, what the fuck? I can play better than some of these stiffs can. What the fuck is going on here? But when you're with Colorado, it's just you got to deal with it because they're just absolutely loaded, on the blue line. You got Devon Taves, Cale Makar, Jack Johnson, Josh Manson, Bowen Byram, Eric Johnson. Are you kidding me? Like, look at that six. They don't even have Gerard.
I know. Yeah, that Gerard, he's sick too. Like, I love that Josh Manson trade. I think that was huge. He's a solid, good right shot D-man. Logs a lot of minutes for them, so I think that was definitely one of the better pickups.
Yeah, no question about that. I'll just see if we have some chat comments from anyone in the chat. We thank you guys for joining us. Cheshire Cat, as always, and thanks for coming on, Calder. Doing a great job, he says. And what else do we see here? Oh, yeah. Regina always sounds like Vagina to me. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, very funny.
Yeah, it's called the city that...
We know where your head's at right now.
Yeah, they have a good nickname for it here. So, yeah. People that aren't really from Canada have no idea what I'm really saying, where I'm from. But people in Canada usually know it's nicknamed the city that rhymes with fun. So we got that going for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll wrap it up in a few minutes, but just some words on Colorado, just overall. What do you think of this team overall? How much fun do you have watching them? Do you think they're winning the Stanley Cup regardless of who they play, Tampa Bay or New York? Just talk a little about this Colorado Avalanche team, because, man, you talk about 4 years in a row of failing in the second round. Well, they look like they've learned from it, and they look like they're ready to complete the mission, aren't they?
Yeah. I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. No matter who they play, they just have such a deep team that, I mean, you got the Darren Helm and Andrew Coglianos and stuff. I forgot they were even playing.
They've been great NHL players, resourceful and important NHL players for a very long time now.
Yeah, they're super, super important. And it's just they got the best D, I think. Like Makar's just a complete stud, and they got those guys up front that are superstars that play a very, like McKinnon and Landeskog and Rantanen are all, talented beyond belief, but they're able to play a very hard, kind of playoff style hockey game that it just suits them, and I think they're just due. I think it's their year to win. It's probably going to be a really good series. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 6 or 7 with New York or Tampa, but I just think Colorado will pull through, and I'm really hoping they do.
Absolutely. I am too. I got to admit, and I try to be a Blackheart when it comes to fandom. Like, I grew up a Sabres fan, and even then I'm not like a hardcore Sabres fan. I'm trying to put myself in a spot where fandom can go to hell. I'm a bettor. I'm going to cheer for the team that's going to put money in my pocket. That's kind of what I've gotten into in the last 10 years. And I try not to, have that emotional attachment, emotional investment as a fan to many of these teams across the board. There's one team I still have a true year in, year out, undying, unwavering love for, and a fan investment, emotional investment in the team behind me here, Hamilton Ticats, CFL. I'm a season ticket holder too. I think obviously that changes things too. When you go to every game, you're there and you're invested mentally, emotionally, financially in the team, and you end up wanting them to do well. Whereas hockey, like I said, and the other sports, like I said, I'm not season ticket holders for as much as I love the Sabres growing up because of Rick Jenneret. La 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 Fontaine. Yeah, I mean, I loved him. That's what made me a Sabre.
We need more of those. We need more of those type of announcers that are like the Pittsburgh guy was awesome. The way he have some of Crosby's calls, and the Buffalo guy was good. It's fun. I think that's a big part of the game is those kind of those announcers that just go like above and beyond and have such a distinct taste on how they call the games.
And they love their team.
Yeah.
And they'll just go nuts every time their team, like Dave Mishkin, the radio voice of the Lightning. That's really nuts how he goes when they score a goal. But it is. And it's actually even funnier to watch what he looks like in the booth as he's calling a big Tampa Bay Lightning goal. It's just he looks like he's gonna heart attack in the booth. But those are the best broadcasters. I agree, the ones that have that energy and that passion. But, I try not to get too attached from a fan standpoint these days. But I am going to be a fan for at least the next few weeks for the Colorado Avalanche, because I would like to see them do it. They've been close. They've had a good enough team to win the Stanley Cup for the last 4 years, and they have another one that's good enough. And I think they're finally ready maybe to get it done. And it would be great, obviously, to see it happen. Calder, this was an awesome stuff. Great job. You're a fun guest. All of our guests have been great, by the way, on the show. So we appreciate it. We'll give you a chance. Think about it. We got Best Bet segment coming up to wrap up the show, Calder. So give it some thought. Something you'd be interested in, obviously, from the game tomorrow night, Rangers and Lightning. But before we get to that, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL, reminding you that new customers can bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if they win. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state, you can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy hockey contests. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN, bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older, must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state, restrictions apply, or province. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. All right, best bets to wrap it up here for this Wednesday edition of the Ice Guys. All right, Calder, what interests you the most? Best pick, strongest opinion? What have you got for Game 5 as of right now, Eastern Conference Final tomorrow night with the Lightning and the Rangers?
Well, I was just looking here to see what kind of odds there are on some things, but I think I'm going to go with Corey Perry, anytime goal scorer. I don't know what the odds are going to be for that, but hopefully you get some really good value on that. And I would probably, if I'm just going to bet a winner kind of puck line, I'd probably take Tampa. I think it might be a 3-2 type game, and then if they get the empty net, they'll make it 4-2. I think that's kind of going to how it's going to play out. Sorry. So yeah, I'd say Corey Perry for a goal anytime, and Tampa puck line would be my kind of more value-based bets.
All right, there. I like it. How about a two-pack, if you will? Corey, and it'll be around plus, I would say 300, 275 to 300 is that's my ballpark estimate. What the Corey Perry goal scorer prop will be tomorrow night. So liking that, and you're right. I think he's due probably to find the back of the net. He's had a bunch of chances. I think it's going to end up happening at some point. Will it happen in New York's the question. And you like Tampa Bay, though, to end this 8-game home winning streak in the playoffs for the New York Rangers, who have not lost at Madison Square Garden since Game 1 in overtime against Pittsburgh. The infamous Louis Domingue spicy pork and broccoli game. Not good.
Yeah, they're comfortable now, so who knows? I mean,
yeah. That was a hilarious interview. Great job. Emily Kaplan's phenomenal, by the way, on ESPN with those interviews. She's done an absolutely outstanding job all season long. One of the best at that role, doing the interviews with the players, I think. Great job, Emily. And she got that great quote from Louis Domingue in Game 1 with the Penguins. But so there you go. Corey Perry plus 300 goal score, and also Tampa Bay puck line, which is minus 1.5, and you can get that at plus 190 to plus 200 is the price with that Tampa Bay puck line for Calder Brooks. Couple of best bets for Thursday night. My best bet, look, I'm going to save the best bet for the Lightning and the Rangers game until tomorrow on that show. So I'm going to give you a different sport. I want to give you one best bet. It's part of the show. I'm going to give you a NBA best bet. We got NBA Finals Game 3 tonight. I'm going to play it safe and lay $1.48, which is the current money line price at Bet Online. A couple books have it a little bit below minus 150 for Boston Celtics money line. I'm laying the price on the money line with Boston. What else can you say? They have not lost 2 games in a row here in the NBA playoffs. They've been the ultimate bounce back team. I expect to see that once again tonight at home in Game 3 against the Golden State Warriors. They've been terrific off a loss, and I would expect more of the same here. Keep in mind, Golden State defensively was terrific in Game 2. They forced a ton of Celtics turnovers. That really helped them. Boston's capable of, these are correctable mistakes, for the Boston Celtics. And I expect them to be a lot better here tonight in game 3 back home in what I think is going to be a back and forth type of series. Wouldn't surprise me to see the NBA Finals go 7 games. So Boston Celtics money line for me, -148 for a rare non-hockey best bet here on the Ice Guys show, since we've got no NHL games today. Awesome stuff from our special guest, Calder Brooks. Calder, final thoughts from you and some final words before we wrap this thing up.
No, I thank you very much for having me on. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm excited to see these next few games here coming up to see who Colorado is going to face in the playoffs, and all the best to you and your bets going forward. Hopefully, we can make a little cash.
No, absolutely. That's always the goal. Help, we want to profit. We want to help the viewers and the listeners do the same as well. No question about that. All right, great stuff. Great show. Hit the like button on the way out. The Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For our special guest, Calder Brooks, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday. It's a double dip of the Ice Guys tomorrow. We got the Daily Show, 2 p.m. Eastern. Nate Rapensky is our special guest tomorrow. And we'll be back with the Ice Guys Betcast, 8 p.m. Eastern for Game 5, Eastern Conference Final tomorrow night. So join us for that, and send me a DM if you want to join us on the Betcast during that Lightning Rangers Game 5 tomorrow night. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.